Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back with another video. Today I want to talk about the Nikon Z5 versus the Nikon Z6 and why one person should get the Z5 and why other people should get the Z6. I think the first thing is I'm shooting this YouTube video on the Nikon Z6 in 4K 30. So this is actually an option that the Nikon Z5 does not have because it's 4K 30 but it's a 1.7 crop, meaning that it kind of zooms in, and basically the Z5 would be a worse video camera, and I think the Nikon Z5 is a better photography camera while the Nikon Z6 is a better video camera. The first thing I want to talk about is Nikon Z5 and what makes it better than a Nikon Z6. And because the number Z5, you would think it's worse than Z6, but there's some aspects that are actually better. So the first thing is the dual card slots. So you have two SD card slots as well, and that's so much better than one CF Express on the Z6. The dual card slots obviously allow you to have redundancy, so if you're like a wedding photographer and photographer anything and you don't want to lose your photos, dual card slots basically guarantees that that won't happen. The other thing is that SD card is so much cheaper and more accessible to get. A CF Express, even though it's faster, it's like $100 for like a 64 gigabyte. And then you have to get a card reader that runs up to like $50 to $100 anyways. So it almost starts at like $200 just to get started on top of the more expensive camera. Versus you can get a cheap SD card for like $10 to like $20. And it'll have huge storage. You can get like a 128 too. So I think the SD card is like way better. And it's kind of one of my major gripes about the Z6. Nikon Z6 doesn't really utilize the CF Express in any good way. It really just lets you take the data off your card faster onto your computer. Like that's really it. And the second thing I think the Z5 is also better is that you can actually power the camera through USB-C while you're using it. The Nikon Z6, you can charge your battery through USB-C. But if your camera's on, it won't charge while it's on, which I never understood why that wasn't a thing, but the Z5 can do that, and it makes it clearly better, especially in this world of like quarantine and using your camera as a webcam and just using your camera indefinitely without having to buy an extra accessory or battery accessory that you need for Nikon Z6 just to keep your camera running continuously. And I think that's a very nice addition. And then, of course, let's talk about the things that the Z6 is better than Z5. So even though you guys all have IBIS, you have a viewfinder, they actually doesn't have a top plate panel, so you can't really see your data when you're looking down. It's not like the biggest deal, but that's one less thing. The body is less magnesium alloy built as well, so that's just another thing. The Nikon Z6 also has like a better sensor because it's a BSI sensor, so it'll probably have better low light capability. But I mean, honestly, they're still 24 megapixels. They're not too different. Another thing as well is that the Nikon Z6 video features are just way better. So they basically crippled the Nikon Z5. Like I said, the 4K 30 is a 1.7 crop. That is worse than using a Nikon Z50 that's an APS-C camera, because that crop is basically like a 1.5 in 4K. It's strange that they made the video features even worse than another camera like a whole tier lower at like $1,000 less. And the other thing is it can only shoot up to 1080 60. So the Z6 can shoot up to 1080 120. So you can do better slow-mo and everything. But I mean, 1080 60 is pretty good. That's not 60 is the highest you need for normal video shooting anyways, and it's pretty usable. But the 4K at the 1.7 crop is kind of hard to say that that's really usable, or else you'll be very zoomed in on someone's face like constantly. And yeah, I think that's basically summarize what I think is. If you're a photographer, the Z5 is perfect. It's cheaper and has better features for you. If you're video, the Z6 is obviously the better. And I think that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.